You know, I'll be the first to admit, I'm not a fan of Zack Snyder's DCEU movies. I just don't think they're good superhero movies. So when the whole talk about the Snyder Cut Justice League started happening like a year or two ago, I didn't really care. I honestly thought it was just a joke. I never really kept in the know about the whole Snyder Cut thing, although for some reason, every 3 months, the Snyder disciples would crawl out of the woodworks and go to Twitter to get the Snyder Cut trending on Twitter. I genuinely did not know that there were this many people dedicated to Zack Snyder. They're like the K-pop fans of film. They're annoying and they don't think anything is better and swear up and down that anything Zack Snyder creates should be required viewing material for all middle school children. I could go on and on about how bad the Superman Man of Steel movie is, but I'm here to talk about Justice League. And by the way, if you didn't know already, there will be spoilers coming forward, so just a fair warning. So I watched the Snyder Cut, and I was pretty impressed by how much I enjoyed it. Now, I remember watching Justice League back in theaters in 2017, and remember just how awful it was. I really didn't enjoy it. I always thought that DC was so much better with their animated movies. Those are gas. Live action is just, Did I try to pirate the movie? Absolutely. I was kind of successful too, because the link I found worked, but it kept buffering every 2 minutes, and I didn't want to have to wait to download a pirated version. So I actually bought HBO Max just to watch this movie. Are you happy, Zack Snyder? Are you happy, fans? You got me to pay your god. He did it. He took my money. I'll admit it. Now I do want to talk about what I liked in the movie, but first I gotta talk about what I didn't like. And before, I do have to preface something that I know a lot of Zack Snyder fans aren't going to like. I enjoy superhero movie characters that resemble their comic book counterparts. I know, it's shocking, right? I don't like it when characters that have been established for literal decades are completely rewritten to fit the theme that is going within the movie. Notice how I didn't say I need superhero movies to have their characters be exactly like they are in the comic books? No, I think that's a bad idea too. I want to give studios and directors liberty. Look at Marvel and what they do. They do a great job at it. Why can't the DCEU do that? Make your own character, but don't fundamentally change aspects of them. Now, with all that said and done, let's get into some of the things I did not like about this movie. I think the most egregious thing about this entire DCEU franchise are their casting choices. Some of them genuinely make me upset. The one that made me want to concave my skull in the most is Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. Who on this fucking planet thought that casting the wizard from Now You See Me as Lex Luthor was a good idea? Now, I don't think he's a bad actor. I think he's a great actor. But on the list of people who I think would make a great Lex Luthor, Jesse Eisenberg wouldn't even be on the list because I know he wouldn't be a good Lex Luthor. Did any of the casting directors open a comic book, watch a movie, play a video game with Lex Luthor in it? Because it sure does not look like it. Lex Luthor is supposed to have this sturdy, calm, authoritative demeanor. Jesse Eisenberg exhibited literally nothing of those characteristics in Batman v Superman. Now, I know he's only in the movie for like a minute at the very end, but it was the worst minute of the movie solely because I had to see him and be reminded that he's Lex Luthor. Sorry, I got a little carried away. Let's calm down. We're gonna move on from that. Where was I? All right. Yeah, Jason Momoa is a bad Aquaman. Now, much like Jesse, I don't think Jason is a bad actor. In fact, I think he's a very good actor, much like Jesse Eisenberg. But he should not have been casted as Aquaman. Or if he were casted, they should have done something completely different with his character. Aquaman in the comics is a badass, but he isn't edgy. Being a badass doesn't mean you're automatically edgy. Superman does badass things, but Superman is like the least edgy DC character ever. You don't get the nickname the Big Blue Boy Scout for being edgy. Aquaman should not be edgy. I don't know how many times I need to say it. He should be confident and proud to be Atlantean. I don't like what they did with his character, that he hates Atlantis for some reason. I even watched the Aquaman movie before I wrote this review, and I still don't get it. Aquaman would not save a guy from drowning, and then proceed to throw that guy onto a table at a bar, make him pay for the alcohol that he drank, and smash that said bottle of alcohol onto a pier. It just wouldn't happen. Period. Aquaman isn't as bad as Lex Luthor, but he's still bad, and I don't like him. I thought Ezra Miller was a decent Barry Allen, but I would have liked to see him act more like the Flash did in the comics. Now, I know the Flash is supposed to be funny guy, comic relief character, but he just never seemed confident in the movie. Look at Flash in any other DC medium. Even the Arrowverse. He's literally the most overconfident person ever. That's his thing. That's his character trait. He gets overconfident, he runs, he loses, he runs a little faster, and then he wins. Boom, we're done. I don't understand what they were going for here with him being, like, timid most of the time and scared. I understand he's younger than most of the Justice League, but I would have loved to see him exuberate this overconfidence and then learn from said overconfidence as the movie progresses. I don't know. I'm probably like one of the only people that thinks Ezra Miller's performance is okay. Most people enjoy him, which is great, but I think he could have been better. Every other casting choice I'm fine with. I think Ben Affleck's a good Batman. I think Gal Gadot's a good Wonder Woman. I was especially impressed with Ray Fisher as Cyborg. I think he improved the most with the recut. We got to see a lot more of him, which apparently was the original plan before Joss Whedon came in and fucked it all up. But yeah, the casting was not one of my favorite parts of the movie. Now, I know a lot of people are going to talk about how long the movie is, and I know it's a time investment. Do I think it needed to be 4 hours long? No. But I thought its pacing was great, to be honest. I was kept entertained throughout the entire movie. The cuts from one scene to another kept me engaged and didn't make it feel like it was 4 hours long. But there were definitely some scenes that could be taken out and some that could have been shortened to make it about 3 hours in length. Also, the 4:3 aspect ratio is pretty weird. I really think they just did it to like save time rendering scenes. I don't know, to be honest. It just looks unnecessary. Seeing 1/3 of my screen not being used in today's age just makes me a little upset. It's not the most egregious thing ever, but like I paid for a full screen, I want to use the full screen. The plot of the whole movie too is just kind of, like I get it, I understand it. But Steppenwolf's just kind of a mid-throwaway villain. His motivation is really generic, let me serve my master. I do find it kind of hilarious, though, that of the 3 mother boxes found, Man's was the last one found. They just threw it in a hole and covered it with dirt. Like, the Atlanteans and Amazonians put it on these, like, elaborate pedestals with a bunch of guards and whatever. And men are like, man, I'm kind of hungry. Can we just get this over with? Yep, no, this looks good enough. Let's go. Also, I know this is kind of nitpicky, but it kind of ties in with the movie. It makes a little bit of a loophole. You don't even learn how, like, Cyborg gets control of the mother box. I know in the after credits scene with Wonder Woman, they talk about it being delivered to America, but it still doesn't tell us how Cyborg got it in the first place and how it was used to help him survive. Like, it could have been one scene or one throwaway line of how it happened, but they just kind of assumed, people won't worry about it, and we show up in his apartment and it's like, oh, yep, it's there. That's the 3rd one. One last thing. The amount of power and control they give Cyborg in this movie is stupidly overpowered. Like, they basically say this dude could wipe out the entire fucking planet if he sneezed and farted at the same time. Dude could literally destroy the world economy just by giving people money that doesn't exist. You're a fucking genius. Do you not know how dumb it is to deflate the value of $1? But yeah, I was a little iffy on how powerful they made Cyborg, but to be honest, I didn't really care that much. I just let it roll. I'm already nitpicking enough. Alright, that's all the major shit I didn't like out of the way. You're probably thinking, wow, did you like anything about this movie? Yes, as a matter of fact, I did. I paid $15 for it, so I better as well like it. Are there other small things that I didn't like sprinkled throughout? Yeah, of course. There are in like every single movie. But they're not that big of a deal that I'm going to bring them up in this video, and they didn't deter my enjoyment that much away. Let's jump into what this movie did right. Like I mentioned before, I commend the pacing of the film. It doesn't feel like a drag. There are movies that are even 2 hours long that I just can't wait to finish because the pacing is abysmal. But the Snyder Cut did a great job at keeping me entertained, which is something that can be kind of difficult for a Zack Snyder movie. The CGI as well throughout the entire film was just flat out incredible. Seriously, I don't think I can keep being impressed by how visually stunning some of the stuff on screen looks in Hollywood, but they keep proving me wrong year after year. A lot, dare I say most of this movie uses CGI, so it's important that it does look good. Better than, that thing. There's a lot more exposition added as well, which helps out a ton for the story. Like, there's literally 2 extra hours of film that hasn't been seen before on here. They better make a good use of it, which they did. The backstory on the mother boxes was pretty cool to see. We finally got some confirmation on Green Lanterns. I was really hoping at some point they would nod towards Green Arrow, but it didn't happen. He's probably my second favorite character behind Batman in the DC universe. So I was kind of banking on him being mentioned, but it didn't happen. Oh well. The whole plot of how they all come together and why Darkseid came to Earth is still a little ambiguous, but I thought the fight scene was pretty cool. The Flash also had a pretty cool introductory scene, although they took it right out of Marvel's playbook from Days of Future Past. It's pretty obvious, but I digress. I still enjoyed it. It was a little weird watching him caress like the cheek of the girl that he was saving. It was a little weird, maybe uncomfortable. Like, just grab her and set her down, dude. You don't have to commit a sexual assault while you're at it. And Cyborg as well got a lot more screen time, which I mentioned before, and I enjoyed quite a bit. Joss really did him dirty. Seeing his version compared to Zack Snyder's, like, it's crazy. But his backstory on his father neglecting him to focus on work made his kind of angsty personality a little bit more believable. He also struggled with a lot of self-doubt and overcame it as the movie progressed, which is pretty cool. I just found the screen time of Cyborg to be really enjoyable. I liked the design as well, although you can kind of see they took a little bit of inspiration from the Iron Man films, but regardless, he was definitely a highlight of the film. The conversation between Martha and Lois is also 1,000 times better in this movie. There's not this really weird, oversaturated scene of the Daily Planet office with this incredibly cringy Joss Whedon-type feminism stance pushed in. Felt really inauthentic, but in this movie, the conversation Martha and Lois have about Superman feels authentic on how a mother would talk to her daughter-in-law and vice versa about the death of the husband and son. I don't know what Josh was trying to go with in the other one. I know he's like a really big feminist, which is cool and all, but the scene he put in there just did not work for me. They also fixed one of the most egregious acts in the film where they just like watched Steppenwolf kill people. Like they didn't go in and help them. They just like ran around a corner, talked about what they were gonna do, and then went in and saved a few people. But in this version, the Snyder Cut, they actually go in and save everyone. I'm kind of trying to figure out what Zack Snyder's version of the DCEU is now, because in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, they literally didn't care about civilians or criminals of that matter. They were just killing people left and right. So Joss kept it in his version to have people killed, which I can understand because he wants to stick true to Snyder's version, even though he really didn't, but he kept this one element where they killed people. But now in the Snyder Cut, they don't kill civilians anymore. I don't get it. This is further emphasized in the movie when they go to like Steppenwolf's base, wherever it is on Earth. And in Joss Whedon's version, there's people that have to be saved. Like Superman, he carries an apartment building full of people. The Flash, he has to save this one family. It was really dumb, didn't need to be in there, but they had it in there. Whatever. Now in the Snyder Cut, they're not in there anymore, and they can just destroy the city without having to worry about people. There's nobody there besides the Justice League. So it's just really weird what implored Zach to change to this type of tone from what it was like in Batman v Superman. I don't know, to be honest. It's really weird. Now, I've seen some mixed reactions to like the epilogue scenes in this movie, and to be honest, I was pretty happy with them overall. I like seeing Martian Manhunter. I thought his design was great. It was really cool seeing him on screen for the first time. And I think they did him justice, no pun intended. The one before that with Batman and the Joker was kind of cool. I didn't hate it. I'm kind of mixed. I know some people are saying it's better than the interrogation scene from The Dark Knight, and I'm just like, really? You think the Joker making a joke about a reach around is that good, huh? Alright. There's also a lot of really unnecessary lens flare and camera blur and like brightness in that scene for some reason. Like, what the fuck am I watching? It's like hurting my eyes when I was viewing it. But overall, it was pretty good. I enjoyed the dialogue. I thought the dialogue was pretty cool between the two of them. The whole atmosphere reminded me of the Injustice universe, but I don't think it is Injustice because Joker dies almost right away in the Injustice timeline, unless it's a Joker from a different universe, and I don't know. Also, the other one with Lex Luthor and Jesse Eisenberg, yeah, you already know how I feel about that, but Deathstroke is in it, so it makes it a little bit better, because I do love Deathstroke. And I'd love to see him face off Batman in a movie or against the Teen Titans. I think DCU really needs to bank on Deathstroke because he's a fan favorite. Overall, though, I did enjoy this movie. I thought it was so much better than the original 27 theatrical cut. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend you watch the original and then watch the Snyder Cut version because you're going to appreciate it just that much more. And, I mean, this is Zack Snyder's movie. There's going to be things that are traditional to other Zack Snyder's movies in this one here. So if you aren't a fan of his films, like, yeah, I'm not going to recommend it to you. Yes, the color desaturation is there, and an incredible amount of unnecessary slow motion, and then you have the weird 4:3, yada, yada, yada. But if you can get past those things, I think you'll enjoy yourself. I'm going to give Zack Snyder's Justice League a 7 out of 10. Thank you all for watching. I do greatly appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. If you think someone else would enjoy this video, make sure to send the link to them. This is kind of the first time I'm doing a quote-unquote movie review. I did make a script for it, but it's a lot more casual than some of the other videos I've done on this channel. But let me know if you want to see other videos like this in the upcoming future or past movies as well. I really don't mind. My next project is going to be something similar to this, but on an anime I really want to talk about. So yeah, that's about all I'll say with that, but it should be out within the next week or two. Yeah, otherwise that's it from me. Until then, I will see you all next time.